A fresh injury concern for Destiny Udogie has left Tottenham Hotspur facing another defensive dilemma for the Wolves game. Ali McCoist has warned that Tottenham Hotspur's fight for Premier League survival could go down to the final day of the season. A report claims that Spurs' hopes of avoiding relegation may hinge almost entirely on Dutch playmaker Xavi Simons. And Micky could be heading for the Spurs exit door, and a report claims he already has a preferred destination should he leave North London. Here are your daily Tottenham news headlines. Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's Craig and here are your daily Tottenham news headlines where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube and are not already as yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. And please make sure you turn on the notification bell so you get notified whenever we go live or upload a video to the channel. Okay, let's get into it. Football.London report that a fresh injury concern for Destiny Udogie has left Spurs facing another defensive crisis, with a key selection decision now looming over whether youngster Sousa is ready to step in. The report outlines how Udogie is once again a doubt ahead of Tottenham's upcoming Premier League fixture, casting uncertainty over a position that has already been problematic for much of the campaign. The Italian fullback has struggled with fitness issues this season, and his potential absence threatens to further destabilise a back line that has rarely been settled. With Udogie unlikely to be risked, attention has turned to the club's alternative options at left back. Jed Spence is expected to provide experienced cover, but the article places further focus on Sousa, as teenage signing still finding his feet in English football. Despite arriving with promise, Sousa has yet to fully establish himself in the matchday squad, highlighting the scale of the decision facing the coaching staff. The piece suggests that handing Sousa a bigger role now would represent both a gamble and an opportunity. On one hand, his lack of senior Premier League experience raises questions about readiness, particularly given the Spurs' precarious situation. On the other, injuries have left the squad thin, meaning the Brazilian may be thrust into the action sooner than anticipated. Ultimately, the article frames the situation as Tottenham's test of squad depth and recruitment strategy. With injuries continuing to mount and reliable options scarce, the club may have little choice but to accelerate Sousa's development, whether he is fully prepared or not, as they look to navigate a difficult run of fixtures. Former Scotland striker Ali McCoist has warned that Tottenham Hotspur's fight for Premier League survival could go down to the final day of the season, with little to separate them from London rivals West Ham United. In a detailed assessment of the run-in, McCoist predicted the outcomes of both clubs' remaining 5 fixtures, painting a tense picture and a relegation battle that may not be resolved until the last kick of the campaign. With just 2 points currently separating the sides, the pundit believes the margins will remain razor-thin throughout. According to his projections, West Ham are expected to edge the contest. McCoist forecasts that the Hammers will collect 3 points across the next 4 matches before securing a crucial victory on the final day against Leeds. In contrast, Spurs are tipped to take 4 points from their next 4 fixtures, beginning with a win over Wolves, but suffer setbacks against stronger opposition, including defeats to Villa and Chelsea. Such results would leave the two sides still locked in a tense duel heading into the final round of fixtures, with survival potentially hinging on their respective last matches. McCoist's prediction suggests Spurs could face heartbreak if results elsewhere go against them, reinforcing the precariousness of their position in the table. The broader context only heightens the drama. Both clubs are battling to avoid finishing 18th and joining Burnley and Wolves in the Championship, while teams such as Notts Forest and Leeds appear increasingly likely to escape danger. For Spurs supporters, the outlook is of mounting anxiety. With form inconsistent and time running out, McCoist's verdict underlines a grim reality. Survival may depend not just on their own performances, but on a final day showdown where every point and every goal could prove decisive. A growing sense of urgency surrounds Tottenham Hotspur's fight for Premier League survival, with one name increasingly dominating the conversation: Xavi Simons. According to TalkSport's Inside Spurs panel, the North London club's hopes of avoiding relegation may hinge almost entirely on the Dutch playmaker following his standout display in a dramatic 2-2 draw against Brighton. Simons, making his first start under new manager Roberto De Zerbi, produced a performance that underlined both his quality and Tottenham's reliance on him. He played a key role in both goals, first delivering the cross that led to Pedro Porro's opener before scoring himself with a superb long-range strike that briefly looked set to secure a vital victory. However, Spurs' inability to hold on, conceding a late equaliser, left them entrenched in the relegation zone 2 points from safety with just 5 matches remaining. The TalkSport panel were unanimous in their view that Simons offers something no other Tottenham player currently can: genuine, creative and match-winning flair. One panellist described him as the only one capable of producing moments of magic to drag the club out of trouble, criticising previous managers for failing to utilise him consistently. There was frustration that earlier regimes under Thomas Frank and Igor Tudor had not trusted the 23-year-old enough, potentially wasting valuable time in a season where Spurs have struggled badly for attacking inspiration. Yet the debate was not entirely one-sided. Some voices pointed to Simons' own inconsistency, suggesting he has not always justified a starting place, particularly while adapting to the physical demands of the Premier League. Simons' goal and his emotional celebration, removing his shirt and running to the fans, became a focal point of discussion. While some criticised the reaction, others defended it as a rare moment of unity between players and supporters during a deeply disappointing campaign. In a season marked by anger towards the board and frustration on the pitch, the incident was seen as symbolic of the passion still present within the squad, even if results have not followed. There is, of course, a growing fear about what relegation would mean for Tottenham's future. The current squad may be ill-equipped to cope with the physical and relentless nature of the Championship, raising doubts over an immediate return to the top flight. There are concerns too, of course, about the broader implications, financial, structural and sporting, should the club drop out of the Premier League, with no guarantee of a quick recovery. As the season enters its final stretch, the message from TalkSport is stark. If Tottenham are to survive, Simons must be at the centre of everything they do. In a campaign defined by inconsistency and upheaval, Spurs' fate may ultimately rest on whether their most talented player can finally deliver when it matters most. Tottenham Hotspur's relegation fears have taken another twist, with reports suggesting that star defender Micky van der Ven could be heading for the exit and already has a preferred destination should he leave North London. According to a Team Talk report, both Liverpool and Manchester United are monitoring the Dutch centre-back closely, with the two Premier League giants identified as leading suitors for his signature. However, despite interest from Old Trafford, the piece claims that there is currently no formal approach from United to either Tottenham or the players' representatives, with discussions remaining internal at this stage. Liverpool's interest is described in similar terms, exploratory rather than advanced, but crucially, the report indicates that if the Merseyside club step up their pursuit, they would hold a decisive advantage. It is claimed that Van der Ven would favour a move to Anfield over Manchester United, effectively making Liverpool his preferred next destination should a battle materialise for his transfer. The uncertainty surrounding Van der Ven's future comes amid Tottenham's ongoing struggles near the bottom of the Premier League, of course, with the club's precarious position fuelling speculation that key players could depart this summer. Rival clubs are understood to be keeping a close watch on the situation, aware that relegation or even continued instability could force Spurs into difficult decisions regarding their top assets. Despite being under a long-term contract running until 2029, Van der Ven's importance to Tottenham has not deterred interest, with his performances and profile continuing to attract elite clubs across Europe. Yet, as things stand, any move remains at this early stage with no bids lodged, and the situation hinging on whether suitors formalise their interest in the coming months. For Tottenham, the prospect of losing one of their defensive cornerstones would represent another significant blow in a turbulent campaign for Van der Ven. However, the path forward may already be taking shape, and if the latest reports are to be believed, that path leads to Anfield. Okay, here's my thoughts on those stories today. Firstly, Udogie with an injury. It's not surprising, really. Nothing surprises me with Spurs anymore. Another injury. But look, we've got Jed Spence to come in, you would think, to cover the left-back berth position. The report obviously mentions Sousa. Do get criticised about how you pronounce Sousa. If I'm saying Sousa wrong, please forgive me. Please correct me in the comments, but I'll say Sousa for now. I'll go with Sousa. Look, he actually, when he's come on and played this season, he hasn't looked terrible. That's for sure. But is he ready in such a cauldron that he's going to be the next 5 games? You'd think he would certainly hold his own at Wolves, but I would imagine the manager goes with Jed Spence at left back, to be honest, if Udogie is out injured, as the report claims. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me, because that's the way our luck's gone. We don't seem to be getting any luck. Can our luck turn? It surely has to at some stage. So, come on, Spurs, fingers crossed. Let's hope we can get a few players back from injury and keep them uninjured, because this campaign's been dreadful, hasn't it, for injuries alone. Ali McCoist's prediction about Spurs being relegated and the amount of points, it's hard to disagree, to be honest with you. Roberto De Zerbi has said that he sees no reason why the club can't get 5 wins out of these next 5 games. Wouldn't that be nice? We could be out of this with 3 wins and, heading into the Chelsea game, which, of course, they sacked Rossini this week. It's just typical timing, isn't it, for Spurs at a time when Chelsea are on a terrible run of form. They sacked their managers before we're about to play them. So, and with Stamford Bridge being a totally unhappy hunting ground for Spurs, we could have really done with them being on very poor form going into that game. But let's face it, Chelsea are a basket case almost as much as us. It's just they're safe this season. So that's the difference, isn't it? But look, we can't cry over spilt milk. The old cliche, you can only beat what's in front of you, and we've got 5 cup finals coming up now. So McCoist's prediction, right or wrong, let's see. But win the next 3 games. We could be out of this, but it's a huge ask, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's got to start with Wolves, though, and the key to that, according to the next report, is Xavi Simons. Xavi Simons, obviously superb against Brighton. Thought he'd got the winner for us. We all did, didn't we? And what a huge 2 extra points that would have been, but it wasn't to be. Couldn't hold on. So we go again against Wolves, and you'd think that Simons is almost the first name on the team sheet after his performance against Brighton. So, yeah, I agree here. Xavi Simons, can De Zerbi get the best out of him? I think Xavi Simons loves being the man, feeling that, importance, and I think he's going to flourish under De Zerbi, and my word, we need him in these last 5 games, and we need him to perform and be the man. So yeah, let's hope Xavi Simons can kickstart us against Wolves. Look, wouldn't it be lovely to be 2 or 3 up by half time? That would just be nice, wouldn't it? Just to relax in a game and think, okay, hopefully this game's done now. We can move on. It gives the team confidence, but Spurs rarely do anything easy, do they? Consistently give us heart attacks and concerns and worry, especially this season. But look, fingers crossed. Come on, Xavi. Fire us to a win, please, at the weekend. Can't take any more defeats and draws, because I tell you now, if we lose at the weekend, personally, I think that's it. It's done. And the final report there, Van der Ven exit. Obviously, this came out a couple of days ago, and there's been all this that's been floating around for a while now about Van der Ven wanting to move on. Not surprised that big clubs like Liverpool, Manchester United could be in for Van der Ven. Are we going to hold on to him if we survive in the Premier League? Probably not, in my opinion. I think Van der Ven's probably going to go. But look, who knows? Now we've got De Zerbi in. From what I'm led to believe, from what you read, the players are loving working with Roberto De Zerbi, including Van der Ven. So look, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But there's one thing's for sure: if we go down, Van der Ven is 100% out the door, isn't he? So look, let's try not to think about that. just yet, and hopefully Micky can stay fit, because again, he's another player we're going to need for these next 5 games with Romero being out. So you'd think Van der Ven's going to be captain for the next 5 games, so please Micky, stay fit. And again, we just need some big performances from you and Kevin Danso at centre back, and hopefully we can keep the goals out of our net and score some up the other end. That'd be nice. That's all from me today. Get down in the comments, let me know your feelings on these articles or anything else you want to talk about as a Tottenham fan right now. And as always, come on you Spurs.